All right, traders, I found the next stock that is about to crash. I'm going to be explaining to you on why I'm deciding to put in over 5 figures into swing trading put options right before the market closes on this stock. I do currently have a nice starting position as I like my entry, but my strong confirmation to swing trade puts will be heading into the close. So let's get straight into it. So the ticker symbol is going to be BBWI, and this is by far my favorite strategy and my most successful trading strategy that I've used over the past decade. It is called a gap close reversal to fill the gap below. This is the same strategy that I previously used to make a 100% return swing trading DWAC put options. And you could have used this strategy on DWAC twice. I used it once. But as you can see right here, there was a gap to fill above on DWAC at 29.42. So what I'm doing is I'm identifying when stocks retrace back to strong previous resistance levels, when there's a gap to fill below. There's a tiny gap there on DWAC. When it fills that gap, it starts to have a reversal and it comes back down to start to fill the gaps that are waiting to fill below. So I'm using that same exact pattern and that same exact strategy on BBWI. As you can see in terms of BBWI, there is a gap to fill above right here at an average cost of $40.44. I ended up day trading put options on this stock yesterday, and I made a very nice 40% return. I literally sold those puts towards the bottom, and we had members absolutely crush it yesterday. And in terms of today, we had members buy put options on this stock today and make it killing back to back. And I'm going for round 3. We're going for round 3. For those of you who killed it today and yesterday on BBWI within Trader Society, we're going for round 3. Going to be swing trading puts. So there's a gap to fill at $40.44. If you look at the daily candle is now reacting bearish. It is now having a gap close reversal. We have a bearish confirmation on the 1-day candle, which is confirmation to be swing trading puts. However, the market hasn't closed yet. So technically it's not 100% confirmed, but we need it to basically react bearish. So if it looks bearish, if it's forming a red bearish candlestick, if it's looking like one of those, trend reversal candlesticks, it could be a little bit green, but overall it looks like we're setting up for that swing trade, which is why I decided to take a starting position, and I'm going to be adding heavy into the close. But yeah, that's the setup. That's the pattern. You could see right here, there is a gap to fill on BBWI. It fills the gap. So it has this green day right here. It gaps up, has this green day here. It gaps up. Next day, it fills the gap, and then it closes red in the middle, and then it starts to sell off and fills the gap below. You could see the same things happening. There's a gap to fill here, and it has the gap up. It has the gap up. Next day, it has that trend reversal bearish candlestick, trend reversal bearish candlestick, and then the day after that, on day 3, from when it gapped up, it starts to sell off, right? So it's a trend reversal strategy. What we're doing is we're identifying when stocks go back up to major resistance levels on the daily, and we want them to fill gaps, because when stocks fill gaps, they can have reversals, and there's a way to confirm if that reversal is actually going to work. Obviously, that confirmation is not going to work 100% of the time, but for the vast majority of the time, it will work if you're using this on the right stocks. And my confirmation to confirm that it is going to have a gap close reversal, meaning it fills the gap, it tops out resistance, history repeats itself, it starts to sell back off. My confirmation is the bearish candlestick. We have a bearish candlestick on the daily chart. Hence, we should have a gap close reversal and start to come back down to fill the gap below. Am I going to purely milk this and just wait for the gap to fill below and sit on puts? No, I'm going to be locking in my gains and locking in my profits as always. I recently used this strategy on Walmart as well. I used it on DWAC, and then after DWAC, I used it on Walmart. In my last video, I told you guys I was expecting Walmart to have a gap down, and it did gap down. There was a gap to fill above right here on Walmart towards this 148 level. I ended up swing trading puts on this day, and the next day it gapped down, and I sold those puts for a 30% return. And then somebody comments on my YouTube channel, I bought puts on Walmart and I lost money. I was never up on the position. I'm like, so you blindly followed a trade after I sold my position for a 30% return. They have no idea what they're doing. Please do not be incompetent. This is me documenting my trading journey. I'm simply teaching you. The purpose of these videos is not for you to blindly follow my trade alerts. I'm simply sharing with you why it is that I'm expecting a stock to do a certain thing, where my max, risk is, where my mental stop loss is, where my price target is, and where my desired entry is. In terms of Walmart, Walmart worked. It formed the trend reversal candlestick. The next day it gapped down. I sold my puts for 30%. The swing trading strategy is absolutely printing. And I'm using the same exact strategy on BBWI. Now, what are the options? What are the options that we should be going with? So in terms of the options and the ones that, I would say would be great, will be at the money to barely out of the money. So right now it's trading at $38.10. We don't know where it's going to be trading in the next 45 minutes. Basically, how we're setting up a $38 put strike. A $38 put strike, what I would tell you is at the money. Go with a strike that is at the money, right? So wherever this is going to close, go with the ones that are at the money, which is probably going to be around that $38 strike price. If you want to go out of the money, do not go more than 50 cents out of the money. So like 37.5 at the lowest. But again, we have to see how it closes. Based off of everything that I'm seeing, it looks like we're getting our bearish confirmation, and it looks like it's going to be safe to swing trade these puts overnight. So that's the pattern. Stock hits key resistance on daily chart. You want to make sure this stock has huge downside potential. More of a bonus would be it's consistently reaching for new 52-week lows or new all-time lows. Those are just bonuses. You want strong bearish confirmations. Another bonus would be you want a consistent downtrend, meaning every time it rips back up to a key resistance, it just sells off, like BBWI. More confirmations when it gaps up and it fills the gaps above. So right here, what does it do? It gaps up, it fills the gap above. Day two, it forms that bearish candlestick, trend reversal, gap close reversal, sells off hard. And you can see the same pattern is repeating. It gaps up. Day two, we're on day two. It fills the gap is at 40.44, and it starts to have a reversal, and it starts to sell off. So we're in the process of that gap close reversal confirmation to start to come back down to fill this gap below, right? And I'm taking it one step at a time. Every trade is different, right? Some trades I just get out, like Walmart. I got out as soon as the market opened. I didn't like it that much. I made my 30%. I got out. This is something where I would say I might look to hold a little bit longer than just one day, but this is most likely going to crash on Monday, and I'm most likely just going to, sell the vast majority of my position and then leave on like 30% or 20% to just ride out for a little bit longer. I take it one step at a time. I can't just tell you guys that, I'm going to hold this until expiration, right? So I'm going with the puts that expire on Friday, the puts that expire next Friday. That's what I'm going with, right? So the expiration on those puts are going to be on the 25th, November 25th. The ones that expire in 7 days from now, that'll be the expiration. Strike like 38, 37.5. That's what I would look to at the money strikes, right? That's my analysis. Those are my thoughts on BBWI. Just to show you more reasons on why I'm bearish, let's take a look at this pattern again. And this is what I used to predict that red day on on that stock, Walmart. I used the same pattern. You go back and watch my videos. It did have that red day. It did gap down. I locked in my gains when it was down and when it gapped down. It was down almost 1%. It gapped down like 0.70%, and the puts were up over 30, 40%. So it worked. So take a look at this. We're going to compare BBWI to DWAC, and we'll also compare it to like VERU. We'll compare it to, we'll compare it to VRU. Look at this. Same exact pattern. So VERU has a gap to fill above a key resistance right here. There's a gap to fill at like $15 a share right around here. This is where it fills the gap. This is the first day where it fills the gap. Now take a look at this. BBWI, there's a gap to fill at $40 right here. This is day two. So day one, what does it do? Gaps up day one, gaps up. Actually, let's go three-day pattern. You have this red day. Day two, it gaps up. Day two, it gaps up. Day three, it starts to show signs of a top. It starts to look bearish. It starts to look trend reversal. What happens on the fourth day? Massive gap down, and then it should gap down on Monday. And this same pattern worked. It worked with Walmart. Look, Walmart had the gap to fill right here. There's a gap to fill in Walmart right there. And then as you see, Walmart has the red day. VERU has the red day. It gaps up, has that green trend reversal candle, VERU gaps down massively. Walmart did gap down. Look at this. Walmart closed at like 140, 147.50ish. It did gap down, and the pattern worked. And this sold off to 146.71. I sold those puts towards open for a 30% win. That same pattern is working, right? It's crazy. Walmart even closed just like how VERU closed. Look at this candle. So similar. DWAC, same exact pattern. Look at this. DWAC had that gap to fill right here. There was a gap to fill on DWAC towards 29. It has that gap up. It just sits that trend reversal candlestick. And then right here, see how it sits that trend reversal candlestick? Gap up, trend reversal candlestick, gap up, trend reversal candlestick. Gaps down, sells off, gaps down, sells off. And then it went back up to fill the gap, another reversal. Could have played puts twice. So there you go. That's the strategy. That's the pattern. This is what I'm using to consistently make money within the stock market. This is my favorite trading strategy, and this is my best trading strategy. You can use this strategy for not only swing trading, but day trading. You can do this day trading as well. If you see a gap fill with bearish confirmations, what did I tell you guys on my previous video with SPY? What did I tell you guys? Wait for it to go back to the previous closing price. It narrowly touched the previous closing price yesterday. Look at this. The previous closing price, there was a gap fill above on SPY. What did I tell you guys? I told you guys, I'm waiting for these stocks to retrace back to the previous closing price. They gapped down very nicely yesterday, and some of them retraced back towards their previous closing price, and then they had the gap close reversal. There was a gap fill in SPY at 395.45, previous support level. It sold off hard to 390s, rocketed back up to fill the gap. It didn't fill it yesterday, but it almost did. And it partially filled the gap and had the reversal. Sometimes they partially fill and have the reversals is, but the point is the strategy and the game plan worked to an extent. It just didn't hit my key level. But that's what I wanted to go over, and that's what I wanted to explain to you. That is why I am bearish on BBWI, and that's why I think we're really going to start to crash into next week. So you have to ask yourself, who's putting themselves in a situation of competence, right? Are you buying low or are you selling high? Do you want to buy this stock high at the resistance when this pattern I showed to you, it's known for having gap close reversals, it's known for selling off, it's known for starting to fill the gap below, right? Look at the chart. Like, what do you think is going to happen? Let's take a look at the chart. Oh, look at this. Wow, look at this gap close reversal right here. You see how well this works? Gap to fill here, double top at all-time highs, bearish confirmation, same candle it's forming today, sells off, fills the gap below. You see that? Nobody's putting you on to this strategy. This strategy is making us an absolute killing. This week alone, I'm up over $20,000 in trading profits. This strategy is game changing, and I'm putting you on to it. This one simple gap trading strategy. I'll tell you this. You dedicate one of your portfolios, you dedicate one account. You can practice it, you can paper trade it, or you can just dedicate one account. Doesn't have to be a big account. Just open up one brokerage account, fully dedicated to trading this one gap close reversal strategy with put options. You could use it both ways, but I love using it on the put side within this bear market, especially, but especially on stocks like BBWI that are consistently known for, downtrending. And when they do have their uptrends, they sell right back off once they fill their gaps. I mean, history just goes to show gap right here fills the gap. Every time it pumps, it tops out once it fills a gap, right? And this is the beauty of being a part of Trader Society. And this is the beauty of being subscribed to this channel. This is what nobody else is teaching. They don't show you this stuff. They don't show you what happens to stocks that are consistently downtrending when they ramp back up and they start to get hyped up and they start to get pumped up. They don't show you how to identify exactly when they'll crash right back down, because that's what we want to do. We want to follow the macro trend as swing traders. The macro trend has been saying that put options in shorts are absolutely banking when this rips back up to fill the gaps that are waiting to fill above, just like this time. Gaps down, rips back up to fill the gap above, sells off, right? And we're doing the same exact thing and the same exact pattern, the same exact strategy right now. Just like this time, it gaps down towards key resistance on the daily. It fills the gap with the bearish confirmation, sells right back off. You see that? It consistently works. I will not be right 100% of the time, but my winners with this strategy will outweigh my losers. Plus, not that I need it with my risk management strategy, but my win rate on this strategy is 80%. This is my best strategy. My average win rate is sitting towards like 70%, but with this strategy, it's an 80% win rate. This is my best strategy. I've been documenting it. You go back from the start to the beginning of my channel. You go back. This is where the vast majority of my success came from, was using this strategy, especially into this year. You go back and watch the videos, that have like no views, the ones that I started posting, you'll see I'm using the same simple strategy. You dedicate one account to this strategy, you'll start to change your life. You got to wait to trade the best setups at the best prices. I'm not buying puts. I'm not shorting at these lows, hoping for a breakdown like a sucker. I'm waiting for the unbelievable to come out. I'm waiting for the pump. I'm waiting for the massive gap up. I'm waiting for shorts to get absolutely wrecked. I'm waiting for it to go back and fill this gap. And then when everyone gets hope that it's going to break out, just like DWAC, just like VERU, when they hit their resistance, when they fill their gaps and they form these bearish confirmations, right? I only swing trade the puts, or I only trade the puts if there's a bearish confirmation. I'm not telling you that you find a stock at the daily chart and then you short once it fills the gap because it's known for having gap close reversals and it's known for being on a consistent downtrend. That's great, but you have to use a confirmation. And this is our confirmation, a bearish candlestick on the daily. 38 strike puts, they're going to absolutely bank. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this channel, and you will see the consistency within this strategy. Go back and watch my videos to see exactly what it is that I'm talking about.